this scene. Get everybody in the stuff together. Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's go.
Hey everybody, it's Boss Blunts, Marcel Klinovic here. Bring you some more information on the global energy crisis, Citadel Energy Marketing, and the relation to the stock market, AMC and GameStop. Give me one moment, please. I'm just going to tweet this out real quick. What's up, Paul? Sorry, good to see you, buddy. Shooting quick tweet out right now, get the word out just so people know the video's out there.
I think it's time to blow this scene. Get everybody in the stuff together. Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's go.
What's up, everybody? Do me a favor, drop a like for me, drop a comment if you want. Appreciate y'all for coming. We're gonna make this one a super quick one. I think everyone's gonna like it a lot. It's gonna be very informative. Global energy crisis is here, and its impact on AMC and GameStop, it's probably different than you think.
You're an original, aren't you?
Cowboy.
I think it's time to blow this scene. Get everybody in the stuff together. Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's go.
Let's get this baby kicked off over here. Just joining my live stream over in the Discord. Get the think tank going. What's going on, fam? What's going on, Ape Nation? Marcel Klinovic, Boss Blunts here. Looking forward to bringing you guys some good details. We got Citadel Energy Marketing putting out new information out there. Looks like we might be seeing Enron 2.0. Check this shit out.
You're an original, aren't you?
Cowboy.
What's up, Pam, Fahad, Kershaw? It's good to see all you boys and girls. Thanks so much for coming and being here with us today. Cheers. That being said, let me just close out some of these windows I don't need anymore. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming, for your support. Here's what we've got going on today. Citadel Energy Marketing, a leading provider of natural gas risk management services. Citadel Energy Marketing has one of the largest portfolios of storage and transport assets in the West. Their customers include natural gas producers, utilities, industrials, banks, and other market participants. Citadel Energy Marketing produced a filing on the Federal Register is a supplemental notice that initial market-based rate filing includes requests for blanket authorization. Now, what this means in English. They're trying to get, this, by the way, this was filed on 5/24/2021. I think that was May 24th. And Citadel is basically filing for a request to be a wholesale energy market maker. All right, they have already been since 2014. My apologies. But there are new FERC filing requirements starting soon for electric market-based rate sellers. And Citadel Energy Marketing was involved in a scandal for misappropriation use of funds. And we're going to get to that in a minute in the lawsuit that happened. But as of right now, this was published on June 25th of 2021. And you can see that sellers of wholesaler electricity that have market-based rate, also known as MBR authority, from the Energy Regulatory Commission, FERC, will need to apply with these new filings because they're sellers of electric capacity, ancillary services such as utilities, must file a market power analysis for each market in which it proposes to make sales. And as you can see here on the Federal Register as of 5/24, Citadel Energy Marketing was, of course, a month ahead of the game. This page has only been viewed 151 times. Nobody has even bothered to look at this fucking information. As of October 15th, it has only been viewed 151 times, this fucking document here, okay? So nobody knows about this shit. Citadel Energy Marketing, Citadel Securities, Citadel Enterprises, these companies, this conglomeration of companies and their holding companies, are combined making a killing off of the current global energy crisis. An absolute fucking killing. The energy crisis threatens economic recovery significantly, right? It has pushed the prices of fossil fuels to levels we have not seen in many years and is threatening the global recovery from coronavirus. And we all know, we can all see what's happening with supply chain, with COVID, with various laws and issues going on worldwide. We are in quite a bad spot, okay? Citadel Energy Marketing, as I showed you here, this is their website. They engage in selling wholesale utilities and various hedging and risks, fixed price purchases and sales, net back transactions, a whole lot of bullshit, and in ways that they try to make money off of it, and they're making an absolute fucking killing off of it right now. So as you can see, they're still complying with the newest Federal Register and filing requirements in order to maintain this company. But this is a lawsuit here stating that regarding Citadel Energy Management, defendant Joey Stanton Dotson defrauded approximately 50 investors in connection with the offer and sale of securities associated with the collection of businesses he founded and controlled, known as Citadel Energy. Entities described below, which provide fluid management solutions to the oil and gas industry in North Dakota. From approximately November 2012 through December 2014, Citadel Energy raised over $15.5 million by selling securities in Fort Berthold Water Partners, Citadel Watford City Disposal Partners, H2O Partners to investors in California and other states. Dotson made numerous material misstatements and omissions regarding his compensation, the intended use of investor proceeds, the status of an important land lease agreement, the ownership of certain assets or income streams, and prior litigation against Dotson. This guy was a straight fraud, through and through. Dotson's defrauded Citadel Energy's investors by commingling funds among three ventures funded by separate investor groups. That means he took money from all these three investors, told them they were all for separate things, and these investor groups, and just mixed up the money. Worse than that, he misappropriated at least $1.7 million from Citadel Energy for his own personal benefit, including large cash payments to himself and his family, Ponzi scheme. Ponzi fucking scheme. All right? And now they're continuing the trend. They're producing the new filings as of 5/24/2021. And you know what? This is reminding me a lot of Enron. This reminded me a whole lot of Enron. I don't know if you guys remember, but back in 1990, Enron planned, they expanded U.S. natural gas business abroad, much like Citadel Energy. Enron became the natural gas market maker, just like Citadel Energy did in 2014. Enron was trading futures and options on the Mercantile Exchange in New York and OTC, over-the-counter market, using financial instruments and derivatives such as equity total return swaps, all sorts of varieties of swaps, options, contracts, out the ass. And we all know what ended up happening to Enron. If you don't, you got another world coming your way. Enron was the most well-known of accounting scandals of the 2000s. They were a natural gas pipeline operator and evolved into a global trader dealing in a range of products, including gas, oil, electricity, and even broadband internet. Gee, sounds very similar to Citadel, doesn't it? A series of events unfolded that in December of 2001, Enron filed at the time the largest bankruptcy in the U.S. history. At the end of the year, the market value of Enron shares had fallen over $60 billion. They over-leveraged and lied about. They sold assets and inflated prices to other firms, or in many cases, business entities that Enron CFO Andrew Fastow had created, holding companies and entities that he created himself, together with a promise to buy back those assets at an even higher future price. Enron was effectively borrowing money, receiving cash in exchange for a promise to pay more in the future. They recorded the incoming cash as revenue and then hid the promises to buy them back in a variety of ways. They kicked the can as long as they could, until they eventually went under. Now, Citadel Energy Marketing is doing the exact same thing. Well, to an extent. I can't say they're doing the exact same thing. They're doing the same methods of selling these derivatives and becoming a maker, a market maker for natural gas and electricity and all sorts of energy. All right. The IEA, let's see here. This is from oilprice.com. They explain that oil demand will grow by 5.5 million barrels per day this year, and another 3.3 million barrels per day next year in 2022. Supply is just getting tighter, though, and it'll be negative 700,000 barrels per day. So we are making 700,000 less barrels of oil per day than we need right now. Right now. Okay, and that's what's causing huge issues. Like, you know what? Let's start with Germany. Like in Germany's slashed their renewable energy taxes due to the soaring prices of energy. So they're no longer giving people as much money for renewable energy. Okay, they slashed it by the 40%. All right, and the renewable energy tax will be reduced from 6.5 cents to 3.72 cents per kilowatt hour. So that means that people are going to get a lot less money for their investment in wind and in alternative energy than they previously thought. The German government's going to help finance $3.77 billion American in revenue from carbon taxes. And last year, there was also slashed by 3.9% during the pandemic. All right. And this revenue goes directly to fund renewable energy development and production, wind, solar, etc. And that is about 20% of a German consumer's bills. But it's reduced their bills by 20%. But sadly, European energy prices have increased by 600% over the last year. So it's not doing a whole lot for them right now. Yeah. Despite the gains in energy, the Germany's economic minister hopes that the renewable energy tax is phased out to keep power affordable. And I don't really think that that's going to happen. I don't think that they can. There are rolling blackouts in Germany, India, Brazil, China, shit, even brownouts, rolling brownouts in California. Why is this picture here? That's obnoxious. Excuse me 1 second. But guess who's ready to come save the day? Vladimir Putin says Russia's ready to supply more gas to Europe. What a good guy. Oh, Putin is what a nice guy. Able to capitalize on record high levels of energy and gas by supplying more gas to Europe. Vladimir Putin has denied using gas supply as an economic weapon against Europe, calling the suggestion absolutely out of the question. He said Wednesday last week that Russia has already increased supply and was ready to supply more as Europe grapples with an energy crisis. They're doing the same thing that OPEC does with oil. They can restrict or allow as little or as much as they want in order to maintain the price at wherever they want to keep it. The gas prices are being driven by an increase in demand as economies emerge from the pandemic lockdowns, a reduction in reserves because we had a cold winter last year, and we're due to have a cold winter this year as well, according to the Farmer's Almanac. So we've been falling back on dirtier energy sources like coal. Trump helped us out with that shit. Not. Russia is the EU's leading gas exporter. Okay, and this is going to help Germany get its gas pipeline, the Nord Stream 2, approved, in my opinion. But it's still going to take a long time. Russia increased gas supply by 15% now that the price has escalated in Europe. Brazilian gas demand soars because they're stoking a global energy crisis, literally. There's been a severe drought, okay, and it's resulted in soaring demand for natural gas, because the majority of their electricity comes from hydropower, water power. Gas-fired electricity generation more than tripled in July as hydroelectric output was cut by 26% in Brazil. That is a quarter, 1/4. Consumption of natural gas for power consumption in the South American giant has jumped by almost 80% in 2021. So their output was cut by 26%, and then consumption for natural gas is up by 80%. And now we can't get enough imports down there to help them out. That's why Royal Dutch Shell is up 2% for today. Together with strong demand from Asia for liquefied natural gas, has contributed to the ongoing global energy crisis. This is literally across the world, from Asia to Europe to South America and North America, as well as Australia and a lot of things in between. So liquefied natural gas ships are being diverted towards competing regions. Europe is going into the winter with lower than average levels of natural gas on hand. And Asian benchmark, which stood at $38, which was $5 a year earlier. That's an increase of 6 or 7 fold. So that being said, the energy crisis and the lack of natural gas shows us, and coal shows us that this is going to be a big global problem, and Citadel is currently capitalizing on it. And they're making money off of the global economic crisis while losing money on stocks like AMC and GameStop to the tune of billions of dollars. Germany has cut electricity levy as energy prices surge, and that's great. But at the same time, France, the government has pledged to block any further price increases for gas and electricity until April. For those of you that are unaware, over 2/3 of European energy utility companies have gone out of business because the prices are locked in for them. So they're having massive amounts of utility companies that are going out of business and no longer able to supply the energy and power. Wholesale natural gas prices, the lead indicator for overall energy prices in Europe, have more than tripled. Wholesale natural gas prices have tripled this year alone. Oil and coal have also jumped, fueling fears over spiking inflation and rocketing energy bills. It doesn't take a genius to figure out that hyperinflation is here to stay. The supply chain that we have is not able to move the minerals and the oil and coal that we have fast enough anyway. Shown to you in the previous video that I put out a couple days ago about the 100 ships off the coast of LA and worldwide. That was an in-depth look at that. You can go check out that video if you want. But this cannot be overstated whatsoever. This cannot be overstated whatsoever. And Brent crude oil is going to be it's $85 a gallon. A barrel. $85. Okay. So the U.S. benchmark topped $81, just shy of $82 a barrel, as Europe and Asia continue to struggle to secure energy supply for the winter. Okay. China's coal and power crisis worsened with coal futures in China closing at a new record high. What this means is that people are buying futures contracts, basically call options, if you will, futures contracts stating that the price is going to go up for coal. It's a safe bet for companies like and market makers like Citadel Energy Marketing, who's a leading provider of natural gas risk management services. Okay. And what do? They hedge. Hedgy's going to fucking hedge. All right. And that's the exact same shit. That's the exact same shit that we were seeing in the past. Without a doubt. And as you can see, Citadel Energy is not without its controversies. If you just joined the channel, you didn't see this earlier, Citadel Energy, Joey Stanton Dotson defrauded over 50 investors with offer and sale of securities, and then misappropriated the funds and stole money and paid money to himself and his family members in a Ponzi scheme. He lied about land lease agreements, ownership of assets, income streams, prior litigation against him, his compensation, intended use of investor proceeds. The founder, or should I say the defendant, Joey Stanton Dotson, and investor, one of the main people over here at Citadel Energy, was a complete fraud, literally. So to think that they're not, filing this information for any other reason than to make more money, it's going to be good for Citadel and terrible for our economy. Citadel is banking on our economy crashing. And they're going to use this money against heavily shorted stocks to try to maintain their position, to try to make retail get bored. Sadly, what we have at the end of the day, is the energy crisis is only going to get worse. Okay, demand for gas is rising. Supplies are extremely limited. Prices are being pushed extremely high. Gas could help to kind of decarbonize electricity as a source of emissions, and Europe is expecting another long, cold, hard winter. That being said, global demand is recovering strongly. Last year, demand for natural gas fell by almost 2%, but now it's rebounded by 3.6%. So it's gained all that back and then some. Europe is entirely reliant on gas imports. European gas production is in decline. North Sea giant gas deposits are dry. There are a number of gas fields in the Netherlands which are running dry, and they're getting all of it from Russia and Norway, for the majority of it. So Putin is ready to run on in here and sell them all that they can now that the price is extremely elevated. It's still not going to be enough. So the price is going to continue to go higher, which is good for Russia because they're doing incredibly well currently, in my opinion, compared to the rest of the global economy. This is global natural gas demand by region, right? This is currently 2021. And this is their estimates for 2024. I think that's bullshit. It's going to increase. There you go. This is from the World Economic Forum. There's been a 600% increase in European gas prices so far in 2021. What the fuck do you guys think this means? What the fuck? It doesn't take a genius to figure out that companies like Citadel Energy Marketing are making a shitload of money on this and using it to abuse their power in the stock market, where a market maker and a hedge fund are able to work together to manipulate prices. At one point in early October, there was a 37% spike in UK wholesale gas prices in just 24 hours. You think that companies like Citadel Energy Marketing didn't know about it? I don't know. I think it's possible. They're a wholesale gas retail market maker. The price of wholesale gas caused several smaller energy providers in the UK market to collapse and has halted production in some industries. All right. The United Kingdom's Secretary of State for Business, Energy, and Industrial Strategy said, "Our exposure to volatile global gas prices underscores the importance of our plan to build a strong homegrown and renewable energy sector." It means that they are desperate to get away from imports, and they can't do it fast enough. These are the global energy prices from oil, gas, coal, and electricity from China to Europe and the United States. That's percentage based. Check it out. Okay. Check it out. Brent crude, coal, gas, oil. Total. 600% almost. God, this is looking so bad for the global economy. And sadly, there's not much we can all really do about it, except for try to hedge ourselves and our own investments. In the Northern Hemisphere, there was very cold, extreme weather last year, and we're likely to see that again this year, according to the Farmer's Almanac. Even polar vortex brought snow, ice, and freezing temperatures as far south as Texas in the United States. All right, this would put an additional pressure on the gas system, and as you can see, this is the winter land surface temperatures compared to the 20th century average. Global warming. But extreme colds are also present because there are violent shifts in the short term, much more violent than we used to see. IEA forecasts a 9% increase in annual gas demand between 2020 and 2024, significantly higher than demand growth that would be needed to be maintained to stay in line with the target of net zero emissions. Net zero emissions is not happening anytime soon, and global warming is pushing our country over the brink. All right? Plain and fucking simple. So Russia and Norway are where the majority of the power is coming from. Okay? This is the EU imports of crude oil. Russia, Iraq, Nigeria, the Middle East. The United States and the UK are losing foothold in that quickly. This is the energy dependence rate for imports and exports. And as you can see, the majority of Europe is at the top of it. The entire EU is towards the top of it. They have no production of their own. And it's looking pretty bad. Look at the European partners of solid fuel. Russia, United States, Australia. The United States stands to make some money off it. Russia stands to make a lot of money off of it. But again, with the supply chain issues that we're having, it doesn't matter that President Biden opened up the ports 24/7. We don't have enough truck drivers. We don't have enough drayage carriers. We don't have enough people with the capacity to load and unload these vehicles with cranes and forklifts. We don't have the chassis. I don't know if I mentioned that. We don't have the rail space, the rail yard space for storing the containers. It's a hot mess. It truly is a hot mess. So I just want to show one last thing. The total petroleum product consumption for the EU is 41%, natural gas is 21%, as well as electricity, 21%. All right. Farzam's debris field, man, thank you very much for your support, brother. Says, hey, brother boss, it is what it is. We just have to stay informed, adapt, and capitalize where we can. And that's exactly right. That's the whole point behind this. All right. This is information that needs to be known by everybody, and we need to keep an eye on what is happening out there and who's making money off of this energy crisis, because it's also very important at the end of the day. That don't get me wrong, I don't believe that any of this is going to be enough to hedge against the incredible massive losses that are being seen at certain hedge funds, but it certainly is showing more and more how the way that Enron went out of business for their over-leveraging and just downright defrauding of the markets and investors seems to be very similar to things that we're currently seeing around the world. So that being said, I wish you all the best of luck, everybody, in the markets. Keep your eyes on Citadel Energy. I'm not sure exactly what's going on with them, but it couldn't hurt to look in them a little bit further. I know for one, I do believe that AMC and GameStop are going to do very well amongst the rest of the stock market, because we're going to be seeing, whether we like it or not, an economic downturn here due to supply chain issues, energy crises, real estate eviction moratoriums, bankruptcies, overinflated real estate pricing, and the bubble that's happening worldwide with Evergrande and 7 other property developers, all currently defaulting or in default of their bonds and repayments. That will transfer over to Australia and Germany and everything else, the EU, as they are the largest trading, import, and export partners, as well as the United States, because a lot of our banks are directly invested in Evergrande, such as HSBC, such as BlackRock, and many, many others. There's 129 banks outside of China that hold Evergrande bonds. And now there's Fantasia and 8 total developers that are in default or nearing default. And for those of you that are unaware, the deal for Evergrande Bank to be purchased is out the window. They basically totally pulled out of that deal, and it's not going to happen anymore. So if you were thinking that Evergrande bonds might rebound, I definitely don't see that happening anytime soon. They suffered a blow as a $1.7 billion deal to sell its Hong Kong headquarters collapsed. Okay, there was a state-backed, means it was owned by the government. Yuzhu Property dropped its offer to buy Evergrande's 26-story office tower in Wan Chai over concerns over the embattled builder's hefty debts. The decision to pull out came after the central bank criticized Evergrande for quote-unquote poor management at a media briefing. Okay, they failed to sell its single largest asset to a state-owned entity. They're fucked. That was supposed to be $1.7 billion to buy this beautiful 26-story office building. Who knows? Who knows what's coming next? Frozen State, I'm glad to hear you got some more shares, buddy. That's good for you. What I'm trying to say here to everybody is, unfortunately, the global economy is not in a position where the stock market can continue to be propped up like this for much longer. When developers like Evergrande and gas companies and utility companies around Europe and around the world are going out of business and bankrupt and leaving hundreds of millions of investors, with retail and institutional, on the hook with for their losses, it's going to cause a global economic collapse that we're already seeing when you put it that we're already seeing now. Okay, plain and simple. What's happening with supply chain and the real estate market and the artificial printing of money, COVID, the stimulus packages, real estate eviction moratorium, they're all connected. Okay? Rising energy prices, lack of people willing to work and able to work. And then you've got certain entities like Biden's party and Biden's basically mandate forcing people to get a vaccine. And 4.3 million people in the month of August quit their jobs in the United States. 4.3 million people quit their jobs in the United States in the month of August due almost directly to Biden's vaccine mandate, because the majority of them were set to be fired anyway. So even though unemployment numbers are down, it doesn't really mean anything, because these people wouldn't qualify for unemployment. So because they quit. So they're never going to apply. So the falsified numbers that are being given to you by the government stating that unemployment is down doesn't really mean anything, because the actual number of employed Americans is only at 58.4%. Out of all Americans that can currently work, only 58.4% as of October 2021 are actually employed. That's not even 2/3 of Americans. That being said, I hope that it works out well for all of them, but it's not looking good when you take into consideration that a lot of companies are going out of business. There's a mandate that has not been lifted, and a lot more real estate correction to come as well. These 8 different companies, these 8 different property developers and banks in China are not the only ones that are going out of business. So, on that note, I wish you all peace and wealth. Thanks everybody for coming out. The Treasury has received, excuse me one second, has received an influx of $480 billion through December 3rd. It really makes absolutely no fucking difference, because the Republicans or Democrats continue to fight about this. And I really do think that, unfortunately, we're going to be seeing a default for the first time in America's history. And even if they don't default, they're going to come down to the wire. It's going to shake up the stock markets. 10 to 20% losses in the stock across the stock markets are going to equal huge margin calls, margin defaults. Hedge funds, little hedge funds like Melvin, are going to start to go under. And then senior hedge funds are going to start to go under after that. Mother of all short squeezes could kick off. It could be a fake out. If we're lucky, a true mother of all short squeezes will continue, and even market makers like Citadel will have to buy back their failures to deliver. That's the goal, in my opinion. That's my goal. So, I love you all. Peace and wealth, Ape Nation. Thank you all for your support. We're going to be so fucking rich. Unbelievable. We're going to be just so goddamn filthy fucking rich. The over leveraging is ridiculous. $426 trillion in derivatives. That is what is currently out there for banks. Not all of them are losses, but the majority are. It's all rehypothecated bullshit. $426 trillion in derivatives between United States banks and holding companies. The majority of that being net, notional unrealized losses. Peace and wealth, everybody. Fuck, we're gonna be so fucking rich. Shit. Holy shit. Where's my fucking money, Ken Griffin? Where's my whistleblower money, Gary Gensler? I want my fucking money.